Welcome back, children. In this part, we will learn about the properties of water. We are studying about the properties of natural resources, and this is the second natural resource, that is water. We will learn about the properties of water. Now, can you all say in which state does the water exist? Water exists in three states, that is in solid state as ice, in liquid state as fluid, and in gaseous state as water vapor. So water does not has its own shape. That is, if you put the water in any type of utensils, it will take the shape of that utensil. So it does not have its own shape. Also, it has its volume. That is, it has a volume. It has some weight to it, some volume is there. Even water can pass from a small hole. And wherever there is slanting position or seep is there, water will try to move towards that place. Also, you will find that when you pour water on a dish, you will see that water does not just spread around. It forms small rounds. That is, small drops are formed. That is because of the volume. Now what you can do is take a bottle and fill water in that bottle to a particular level and mark that level. Keep it in the refrigerator, and after some time when ice has started to form, then check the level of the water. What you will find is that the level has changed. The level has increased. So why it happens is because water expands on freezing. Before freezing, the level of water was different, and after freezing, the level of water is different. The water has expanded. Now, how to find the density of water? So what we can do is we can take two different types of glass, and in one glass we will put different types of materials, like we have put a sharpener, pencil, eraser, spoon, rounder, and all those things. And in the other glass we have taken water and we have put ice on it. Now what happens is when you put different materials, some materials sink inside the water while some floats. Why the materials are floating on the water? Because the density of these materials are less than that of water. So that is why they are floating. As the density of these materials are less, they will float. And these materials were more dense. So that is the reason they settle down. Now what happens is when you take ice and water, you will see that ice floats on water. Why the ice floats on water is because ice is lighter than water. When water freezes to form ice, it becomes lighter than the original liquid. That is, when it transforms from liquid state to the solid state, the volume increases. Therefore, the density of the ice is less. As the volume increases, the density is less. So that is the reason, as the density of the ice cubes are less than the density of water, that is the reason they float on top of water. Same had happened here also. The density of these materials were less than the water, and that is why these were floating. So the formula for density is mass upon the volume, and the unit for mass is gram and unit for volume is cc, that is cubic centimeters. So the density unit is gram per cc, that is gram upon cubic centimeter. Next is the anomalous behavior of water. Now before that, you need to understand that when the temperature of the substance is lower, the density of that particular substance increases as the volume decreases. But water is an exception. So in all the other liquids, what happens is when the temperature is low, when you lower the temperature, the density will increase and the volume will decrease. But in water, what happens is, as water is having different properties, so what happens at normal temperature, water starts to cool and its density increases like most of the liquid. So when it is starting to cool, the density increases. However, as its temperature falls below 4 degrees Celsius, so as the temperature reaches 4 degrees and it starts to fall below 4 degrees Celsius, opposite thing happens. That is, density starts decreasing. This means that the density of water decreases. And it decreases at what? At the maximum or 4 degrees Celsius. If the temperature is lowered to 4 degrees Celsius, its density decrease and the volume increase. It means that the water expands when the temperature falls below 4 degrees Celsius. And this is called as the anomalous behavior of water. Now what happens is, you will see that in the snowy region, the upper layer is ice, but still the fishes are there which survive inside. So what happens here is, the water starts to freeze. It freezes by 4 degree, 3 degree, 2 degree, 1 degree and so on. So as it reaches 4 degrees Celsius, its density starts decreasing. And the topmost layer which is there, that is 1 degree and 0 degree, there ice is formed. But inside the water which is there the ice is not formed, because ice is only formed on the topmost layer. And this is the reason why the fishes and all the other aquatic animals survive inside the water, that is inside the water of the ice. Topmost layer ice is there, inside the normal water is there, in which the fishes and all the other animals survive. This is the anomalous behavior of water, because the water starts to expand at a particular degree only. Next, we will see the effect of density with an experiment. In the first bucket here, we are taking water and we are not adding anything in this water. And in the second bucket here, we have taken salt solution. That is, we have added salt to this water. Now what happens is, in the normal water, the density is different. In the salt water, the density is different. In normal water, the density is low. In the salt water, the density is high, because we have added salt into it and the density has increased. Now when you take a potato and when you throw it in the water, that is in the first bucket, you will see that the potato sinks to the bottom. But in the second bucket, it does not sink to the bottom. Why it does not sink to the bottom is because the density of here, the water which is present in the second bucket, is more. That is the reason it floats. You must have also seen that it is easier to swim in the normal, that is in the fresh water. But if you try to swim in the sea water, it is very difficult, because the sea water is having many salts and many minerals which are dissolved into it. And because of which the density is very high and it becomes impossible for a person to swim for a very long time. But in fresh water, there is no salt added and only the minerals which are added, that is also very less. So that is the reason it is easier for people to swim in the fresh water than in the salt water. Another term is solute, solvent and solution. Now the substance that dissolves, that is called as a solute. For example, you are taking salt. Salt is a solute that will be dissolving in a particular liquid. Next is the solvent, the substance in which the solute will dissolve. For example, you have taken water. So in water, you will be adding salt. Salt was what? Salt was our solute. So in which the solute will dissolve, that is called as the solvent. And when you dissolve both the thing, that is solute and the solvent, that is when you dissolve salt in water, together these things become solution. So this is called as solute, solvent and solution. Solute is what? The substance which will be dissolving in the solvent. Solvent is what? In which the solute will dissolve. And solution is what? The mixture of solute and solvent.